a submarine dived is considered an act of war.
Oh,
Oh, if you look at Ukraine, people are not using soldiers, they're using drones. Drone warfare is coming into play. And in your experiences in Navy, I mean, how feasible do you think this is? And how should we be preparing for it?
And ammunition have been
Right,
safely
yeah.
stored, and in your mind you're thinking, oh God, if these guys have ammunition,
Yeah, what
they're gonna,
reception will I get here?
they, as soon as your head pops up, they're going to shoot one, shoot the next, shoot the third. It's a quiet alleyway, okay, and you're walking and it's late in the night and there is a girl who is being kind of molested by a group of guys. You're all by yourself. What do you do?
You've all heard the saying, we sleep safely in our beds because there is a soldier standing on guard. Well, there's also a soldier standing on guard in the oceans on our ships. Today we get to speak to Commander Nigel Heredia, 22 years in the Indian Navy, corporate and now author of Stand Tall, Sail On. Stories about leadership, stories about his time in the Navy, stories which you're going to hear right now on the Pineapple Podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Pineapple Podcast. My name is Krishna Subramanian. You know who this idiot is.
Of course
His name
they
is
do.
Mario Rosario. And today it's an absolute pleasure to meet the author of Stand Tall, Sail On, a mentor to a lot of people, including hopefully myself at some stage. May I please introduce to you Naval Commander Nigel Heredia. Welcome to the Pineapple Podcast. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. And I have read this, and it's a very easy book to read, first of all. The first thing, I think I even messaged him as soon as I read the book, the font is massive, right? So it may look like it's a very big book. The font is massive, easy to read stories, all stories about leadership. So let me start with the most basic question, and I love asking this question to people in the armed forces. What is leadership?
It's really the ability to inspire someone to follow you through the hardest times without knowing where the end might be. It takes a lot to be able to have that kind of passion, which allows the people behind you to have that kind of faith in following you.
Can leadership be taught, or is it natural? That's the age-old debate.
Well, to be fair, the armed forces believe that leadership is a trainable skill. It takes a long time, which is why a lot of our training is based on various different elements of leadership. As you go along the way, the experiences that you go through will develop in you that sense of collaboration, that camaraderie, that resilience, that inspiration that you require, which will hold you in good stead to help you lead other people later.
I mean, that's as good an answer as I think I'm ever going to get. But so let's start at the basics. As soon as I read this book, and Rohan, in case you're watching, he got through to the Navy on his first attempt without even trying. So this is tell us about that. So first of all, you were just like, hopefully you were just like us once upon a time, not knowing what to do in your life, wanted to get into engineering, and this opened up.
To be fair, engineering was the furthest from my mind.
Right.
I was an out and out bio student. I even joined microbiology in St. Xavier's College, which was even now a very prestigious course. But there was this one gentleman in my father's office who believed that for a boy in those days, doing just a BSc meant like certain failure. I mean, at the end of it, you would probably not get a job. And because of that, nobody would marry you.
So we're talking 1980s, right?
87.
87. Even in 1987, the prevalent thought was BSc is not enough.
BSc is not enough.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, so
But I thought it was a good backup, wasn't it? I mean, if you didn't get into the major streams like engineering and medicine, BSc was a good alternative, right? Because there were some alternatives which are not even considered those days, wasn't it?
To be fair, but the way it was presented for a boy, he had to be doing science till the 12th. And after the 12th, had to be either doing engineering or medicine.
Yeah. But you know, I in fact, the first few pages in your book, you clearly said that
Mario's read 4 pages, by the way.
You're not that good in physics, but you're really good in biology.
I was.
So you had to take a few months and get your physics marks up, and your biology suffered as a
It did.
result of
It
that.
did.
And is there some weird psychosis here that for a boy you need to get the main sciences, you need to get good marks in the main sciences like math, physics, and that's what maybe one point of time that's what really success meant. And if you pick something weaker like biology or something, was there an undercurrent running like that?
No,
Because
I don't think there was any undercurrent like that, Mario. I think biology is a very, very technical subject, much like maths or physics or anything else. I loved it just because I was drawn to the subject. I am very drawn to anything medical, things to do with life and how it originated and stuff like that. So from that perspective, I was drawn to bio. Physics, I didn't work hard enough till the finals. So obviously, you put in the hard work, you'll get the results, and that's pretty much been
Yeah, he
a
put hard
mantra.
work in for 1 or 2 months, and how much did you get?
Let's not get into that. It's
Right.
all selective amnesia.
Right.
It's all
right.
selective amnesia. It was enough for me to be considered sufficient, good enough
Sufficient. Right.
good enough to do engineering.
Again, Rohan, first attempt. Huh? Just. Sorry, I'm going to keep doing that today. So I have this friend of mine, Rohan, and shout out to him. He tried to join the Navy straight out of engineering. He said he's going to join the technical part, and he couldn't make it through at least 3 times. And I've taken his permission to take his name. But I sent him screenshots that I have Nigel come here, sent photos of the book to him that look at this chapter.
what a great
And
strategy to get more followers. Really, such a great strategy this is.
Well, it's okay. I was very, very fortunate. While I didn't go through proper training, I think my background, the school I was in, and the stuff I had already done helped me greatly.
So let's fast forward a little bit. So you're landing there. You've landed in the Naval Academy. What's it like though? So first of all, where is the academy? It's not in Bombay.
No, it's not. In those days when I had joined, the Naval Academy was in INS Mandovi in Goa.
Goa.
Goa, in a place called Vere. Vere is about 10 kilometers from the fabled beaches of Baga and Kalangut.
So how seriously can you be a candidate in Goa?
Very serious,
Had to
because
be, right?
you had to be, because as soon as you got inside the base, you could have very well been in Timbuktu, because you never saw the outside except for these occasions where you went for a cross country run or for camp or something like that. Yeah.
At the base. Now you've decided you're going to be a part of the Naval Academy. So walk us through that. I don't know anything about how the Navy works. So what do they start teaching you at the academy? What's the first lesson you get?
Oh, I think the first lesson you get is you dump your trunk in your dorm,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think you
head straight for the haircut. Okay.
I want to make a joke here, but I'm too scared.
Well, to be fair, it's something that you can never grow out of or grow back into. Okay, so
You had an extremely fun ponytail.
I did have
Do you have a photo of this, by the way?
I do not have a photo of
Could you
my
send it to us at the time of editing? I would love to put a photo of you with that ponytail.
I
that
do
you
not
mentioned.
have a photo of my ponytail. It is
Long
lost,
gone, long gone.
lost in the annals of history. But yeah, I entered the academy with a nice ponytail. In fact, there were classmates in my college who actually helped plait it the last day. Okay, entered the academy with great amount of energy and immediately sent for a haircut, where we got a nice crew cut. All of us looking exactly the same. You could have come from anywhere and you had that same katuri.
You've mentioned in your book very specific, and I'd love for you to say this in your own words, why that was a very important part of the welcome. Why you felt that was a very important part of your life.
I think it's important, if someone has to grow, that one needs to let go of stuff. Okay, and very often we hold on to a lot of stuff that we feel is a big part of us, but actually might just be holding us back. By shearing off our locks, and in my case, my ponytail, it helped me realize that maybe the ponytail might have got me in so far, but if I had to go further, I had to reimagine myself.
Yeah, that was a big part of your book, and I've always wondered, do we need to take a physical step to let go of something? And I feel like there's a balance there that you brought out beautifully in the book.
I think there is a balance. A physical change makes a big difference. Like in the book I mentioned, when I went from school where I was a prefect, okay, to college, and suddenly all the rules were kind of lifted. I had to find my own rebellion, and that was my pigtail. And then getting into the Navy, where again it's this extremely disciplined kind of environment, and losing it all and realizing that I was on the threshold of something much larger and I had to reimagine myself, it helped that there was a physical change.
How early do they put you on a ship in the academy? When was the first time you go and you're standing in front of a ship? Oh my God, okay, I'm going to board this ship.
Before that, if you don't mind, what was the most rigorous?
I already asked my question.
I really, because you're going to the ship already before. What is the most rigorous exercise you had to do, training you had to do when you were in camp? Was there any point where you felt, I'm reaching my limits here, I'm going to break, I can't do this anymore? And what kept you going? Because when you see the exercises they do on TV, get up in the morning, run. I don't know whether they do that in the Navy. When I look at it like a
Oh yeah, they don't make
and
you
I
run in
run.
the Navy. So
No,
sweet.
no, hold on.
Ah.
When I look at it, I can, there are times where you just have to stop and break. But you see people in the army, they just keep at it. They just keep, I don't know, where does that energy come from? Where does that come? Have you ever been in that
So
situation?
I like the question. I'll just add to it a little bit. You're all new recruits. You may have had physical exams at the entrance, but you're all new recruits.
Absolutely.
So, and I'll just piggyback a little bit with what he's asking is that drive can't be instantly manufactured. I'm guessing during the training at some point you found that drive.
Okay, so the entry program itself is very, very rigorous. Okay.
It is.
So before I joined the Navy, you go through something called a services selection board.
Yep.
And the only thing they really test you on is your drive, your passion, your
How
ability.
do they test this?
There are various tests that you do. You have group tests, you've got individual tests, you've got physical tests, you've got psychological tests. In fact, the first couple of days is complete psychological tests. And many people are screened out just based on the fact that they might not have the right attitude.
What time? Can you give me an example? What
Okay,
what was
they'll show you some pictures and expect you to write a paragraph on what you saw. They explain, like they'll give you a situation and see how you react to the situation. Understand, they don't need heroes.
Could you test us? Give us a situation. Let's see how where we are.
Okay, I vaguely remember there was one section where we were told that it's a quiet alleyway, okay, and you're walking and it's late in the night and there is a girl who is being kind of molested by a group of
Guys,
men,
yeah.
a group of guys. You're all by yourself. What do you do? Okay.
Okay, so I'll try first, and then he'll give you another situation.
No.
Or do you want to take this one?
No, I'll take this one.
You'll take this one. Okay.
Yeah.
But give me another situation then.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll walk, I'll look, I'll stare. If the guys are armed, I'll stare, I'll walk away. If they are not armed, I'll try and go and reason with them. But if they are armed and they look dangerous, I'll walk away. That's
Okay, so I can also try to answer this. So I would look for a weapon. There must be something on the ground. I'll look for a weapon and go and engage. I wouldn't let them continue doing what they're doing.
Okay, so first and foremost, there are no right and wrong answers. Okay, if I remember my answer, it was more about, hey, listen, I'm alone. It's late at night. There are more of them, armed or otherwise. I'll still be beaten. Okay, so immediate thing to do is try and raise an alarm.
Yep.
So make a loud noise. As soon as you start raising a noise, the men themselves get on the defensive. So they are distracted. So they're more likely to then start engaging with me and leave the woman alone. Okay, that was my answer. Doing that, I was still some distance. Perhaps maybe the girl gets a chance to run away. I get a chance to run away as well. Many possibilities that happen once they're distracted. Idea was to just distract them. So one of the lessons, and I learned this in hindsight much later, you don't require to be a hero. At the end of the day, your job is not to be the hero. Your job is to ensure that whatever objective you set out to do was met.
It's a powerful lesson, dude.
yeah. You don't have to be the
Because
hero.
I did the exact stupid thing. I was going to pick up a weapon and go.
No, but you.
I would have made the situation worse if you think about it.
Well, you may have saved the day, or you have may have.
But
It could
no
have
chance,
ended
because
up
he's right.
either way.
They might have been armed. It's a lot of them. It's one of me.
Yeah,
I don't know how to fight.
which is why I said, I mean, I would have gauged if they were armed and dangerous, I would have like kept my head down like most people and just walked away.
And this is such a depressing day. You might have got selected and I would have got not done. It's such a depressing day. Oh God. But that's wonderful. I like these. So there are these kind of situations. For 2 days you go through psychometric tests.
Yes.
And then?
And then about 80% of the cohort is screened out.
Wow. Really?
Really.
Just on the psychometric test.
Even the ones who are very able-bodied possibly
You
gets.
don't.
you
So,
don't-
so
okay.
I was. So the group testing officer told us just before our physical test, we are recruiting officers, not monkeys.
Wow.
In so many words.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So even if you're well built, doesn't matter. Your psychometrics is the first thing. And then
And especially in the Navy, right, Krishna? Because, like I said, it's about you being in a platform and you're engaging at a distance. So you have to work as a team. So that's what they're really testing you. That's your DNA, your ability to lead, work in a team.
Hmm.
See, I'm pretty sure if I ask if I go into a room and I ask, has anyone read a book on leadership? Some people will raise their hands. I'll say, if anyone read 2 books on leadership, some people will still raise their hands. There are so many books on leadership, teamwork, soft skills that I now don't know what the right answer to leadership, soft skills, teamwork is. But you're saying the Navy is able to screen 80% of the candidates based on their ability to be a future leader and teamwork.
Based on the ability for them to train you to be a leader that they need. It's
Their
very
ability.
different.
Okay.
It's very
that's
different.
interesting.
Okay. Now, many of these 80% who get screened out may have a lot of leadership, but it's a different form of leadership as required by the Navy, which first starts with discipline, which first starts as following orders. Every general, every admiral who ever made it first followed an order. You can't be that maverick, okay, thinking out of the box from day one. That's what gets your team killed.
So it must irritate you when you watch movies, right? Where this person is trying to go rogue. Like a big
Listen,
Navy mein
I
nahi hota
get
hai
the
ye.
romantic angle of it,
Okay.
and I get the fact that they need to, kind of make it a little more dramatic. But in real life, it's a lot more real. I mean, and it's less romantic.
Have you
So
ever
you-
been given sorry, just
No, it's-
once. Have you ever been given an order where you felt like, no, yeah, this is a wrong order, but you had to suck it down and do it anyway?
So if it's a wrong order, I will go on record and say that you are not required to follow it. There are very clear orders. There are very clear instructions on what constitutes a bona fide order.
Can you give me an example?
There is something
You
that.
okay? You want the AC off?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I've just got a bit of a frog in my throat. Yeah, so what do I say by a wrong or unconstitutional order is something that is not in the best interest of the service. I have the ability to contest that. I have the ability to say no.
Example of such an order?
It's hard, really, maybe if it's never happened, which is why it's theoretical at best. But I can think of occasionally, we get all buzzed, and in recent times there's been some videos that have gone viral about some armed forces personnel taking on people at the airport and grumbling that I wasn't allowed to board and trying to use their sometimes we would like to think that it's possible to extend our power, in a manner of speaking, by preying upon others. I don't think that's allowed.
Just to come back to the whole leadership angle you were talking about, if I contrast the way the army does leadership, right, and the way I would learn it outside in a school, right? So the method of selection itself is difficult. Here you need to pass an exam. Here you need to prove your academic credentials are really good before you get the ability to join a premier educational institution and then lead one day with an obnoxiously high salary.
It's the other way around.
No,
like you do an entrance
Yeah,
exam,
entrance, yeah.
and then they teach you leadership.
Then they teach you
Here
leadership.
it's
But
psychometric
here,
first.
what is taught as leadership is different, right? Because here, you may not have come of age yet. That's the thing, right? Here you may be 25, 28. Here you're still young.
18, right?
Yeah,
You were
18, right? You're
18,
still young.
18.
So a lot of people don't even know these basics. Yet the army is looking inside them and gauging their character. You're doing a kind of future prognosis, right? This is how he may turn up, right? So, and if he shows promise, this is how we're going to build him, teach him about how he has to follow orders, understand the system before he becomes part of the system, right? So this is not taught in conventional education, right? I mean, people don't need to understand that they have to follow orders. In fact, people start giving orders before they start following. When you become a manager, right, let's assume I take the MBA path. I could join and become a manager before I even learn what it is to take an order. I mean, that's pretty much it, right? This is one way of looking at it. Here you have to be in the system, climb up, and then know what it is, know the pain of having to take an order first before giving. It's two really different ways of.
Do you remember what I asked him first question? How do you define leadership? He said
Yeah.
your ability to instill faith in someone where they are willing to take an order from you. So you kind of answered your question in that first sentence there, but yes, I would still like to hear an answer to what he just asked you.
It's certainly different, Mario, because you got to understand that the leadership in the armed forces is very situational and it's very applied. Okay, the outcomes are very real as against academic. Okay, what they do first and foremost, and to the point that even Krishna asked me a little earlier, right? In the SSB, they're trying to see your potential. They're checking your potential for them to be able to train you into the leader that they need. Okay, you come into the academy, you are shorn of your locks. In a manner of speaking, it's metaphorical for shedding all your emotional baggage, your ego, and stuff like that. So you are brought down to ground zero. Everyone, whether you came from a castle or you came from the slum, you are there as a cadet with your zero haircut. And you are all treated equally. You'll sleep in the same dorms, you'll eat the same food. Okay? And from that level, they start training you. The first 6 months is actually about unlearning what you learned. And you're brought down to a common level from which they then build you up.
How do you do this unlearning?
Well, it's a combination of extremely difficult physical as well as mental training environment. You're always under physical stress, be it in terms of your physical training, be it in terms of your cross-country runs and stuff like that. You're always under pressure because apart from, especially in the Navy, a lot of technical stuff you're learning, so there's a lot of academic pressure on you. You also have a lot of additional pressure, emotional pressure that you are put under from the perspective of ensuring that you're always well turned out, always everything, your beds are always well done, and your cupboards are always neat. You're always running as a squad in step all the time. It takes a lot at that time, of this training, this discipline that will help you then shed your preconceived notions. Very often, I remember this happened maybe in the first 1 or 2 days of us joining. We have these gaowalas. He's from my village, I'm from his village, and you kind of buddy up. But the first thing that gets done after you finish your haircut is you get divided into various divisions, and those divisions are completely arbitrary, and the guy on the next bunk could be someone completely different background from you, completely different. And we had people who come from all walks of life, all kinds of educational systems. So we all were in it together, and to survive we had to get on with it.
Wow. So let me ask you something else. This must take a toll on a lot of folks who may not be ready for the psychology of this kind of preparation. Although you may be screening them out, is there any option? And I'm not sure today. Before, I don't think there was. For if somebody has a complete mental breakdown in this process, is there?
Does it happen?
Is there someone you can talk to in the army, or are they still supposed to toughen it up and survive?
Uh, that's a hard one. You do have people who drop out, and how I will say it is that they drop out on medical grounds, either physical or emotional, mental, on medical grounds. But you do have a way of getting boarded out. That's very few and far between. There's a lot of groundwork done before a person actually makes it in. So chances of that happening, I can think of barely a handful that I know who might have been boarded out on medical grounds.
So,
It's
at
it's
any
like
point, especially if in your book, it didn't feel like you ever thought about the Navy as a career. And once you land up there, you're going through this for 6 months. You never thought, why am I doing all this? I could have
on
done
the
something.
first day, while I was sitting there for my haircut, I'm saying, bloody hell, what the heck? Why am I doing this to myself? I was having such a great time in college.
So why? You could have just walked away.
At the end of the day, Krishna, there was this passion. Somewhere down in here, I really felt I was drawn to the service, even though I really didn't have a clue about it. It's strange, and we were joking about it. My earliest role model happened to be a marine engineer,
Wow.
okay, who was in the merchant navy. And I always said I'm going to be a marine engineer. And of course, then I moved on to biology and I wanted to do a whole lot of stuff in biology. But then came a full circle. I even joined NCC in school. And one fine day I find myself in the Navy. That's how quick it was.
18-year-old in the Navy, psychometric tests. I have a good idea of who I was at 18. I was an even bigger idiot than I am right now, if that's possible. How do you how can you even judge that poor 18-year-old that this guy is not going to make it?
Well, I think they have a process, and the fact is, at that age, you are also very resilient. So I'm not saying that all the decisions that were made as part of our SSB were completely right, but if you get it mostly right, and the rest is trainable, you still got a very fine officer at the end of it.
So walk me through the physical training. What do they make you do?
Okay, I'll just walk you through a standard day. Get up in the morning around 5 or 5:30. 6 o'clock is PT for about 45 minutes. Then quick change. Then you head for drill, okay? And you have another 45 minutes of drill, by which time it's close to about 8, 8:30. Quick shower, change, breakfast, head to class. We are doing 4 years of engineering, okay? Okay, you finish classes by 1:30 or 2, come back to the mess, have lunch, half an hour of break, followed by some study period where most of us dozed off, obviously. And then 4 o'clock to about 6 o'clock was games. After games, again, shower, change, go for dinner. And after that, lights out at 10:30. That was the official day. There were many days where there was requirement for correction. So, either after lunch or after dinner, we as a course were brought out where we had to do certain additional amount of drills to correct us, whether it was done by our training staff or our training officers or even by the seniors. It was all part of the training. I think we were kept busy for about 16 to 18 hours of the day.
So wasn't this strenuous? I mean, if I think you have to get up at 6 and do exercise and do drill and study, right? So it's physical so isn't sleep necessary at some point of the day? I mean, you're saying that time is for study. I mean, people will fall asleep. It's mentally and physically exhausting.
It is, Mario, and that's exactly what the training is all about. Because you are just taught to keep pushing on. Okay, I've talked about it in one of my stories on the cross country, right? It's about just putting one foot after the next and not giving up. Because, in the armed forces, there is absolutely no option but to win.
4 years of engineering that I did, I'm pretty sure I didn't wake up and exercise and all that.
And-
Pretty sure I
and-
hardly studied. One day before the exam, we all had that one person who would teach us everything, and we would show up and somehow pass the exam. That was my 4 years of engineering. And then I'm hearing this. My dad would have been proud, but unbelievable. Okay, so 4 years of engineering. So do you join as a cadet, or are you an engineer or technical engineer working in the Navy?
No, I join as a cadet. The first 3.5 years are pure cadets training
During the engineering course?
during the engineering
Okay.
course. At the end of your third and 3.5 years, you become a midshipman for 6 months, which
Okay.
is also like it's you're an officer, but you're still under training. Then you become a sub lieutenant, where
During those 4 years,
at the end of the 4 years,
you
so
pass out as a
after
sub-lieutenant.
you pass out as a sub lieutenant. Then you do further training, specialization. You are actually a lieutenant by the time you do your first posting on board a ship.
When is the first time you are on board a ship?
On staff or just generally?
So both. So
Okay.
generally, when do you?
So
when do you
generally, the first time we were on ship was when we had a training cruise at the start of our second year.
second year. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And we were very fortunate to go on one of our training ships, INS Tir. We went all the way to Seychelles.
Oh.
Good fun, great time. Again, very difficult life on board ship, doing watches, and the watch system. You do your watch, then you close up for class, and you have to find a way to sleep in between all of that. So there's a lot of like time management, uh, prioritization of what needs to be done when that you learn along the way. You just have to survive and get through the course.
Wow.
So this, this whole ship ordeal is, not ordeal, this whole ship thing is so amazing. I mean, you're in a warship or battleship. You
Were
have
you on a
all-
warship? This to Seychelles?
We have only no, that's a training ship.
Okay.
So it is a warship in the sense it's an Indian naval ship. It's
Yeah.
not like
It has guns and stuff.
yeah, very
Yeah,
much.
So I mean,
Okay.
you can literally, you're literally already looking at being attacked at any point of time, right? Although it may not happen, you have to always be on an alert in case something happens, and you're all alone. I mean, you look out and there's the sea, right? And does it get depressing after some time?
Mario, the one line that I will disagree with you is you are never alone.
In that way, okay.
You have about 150 shipmates with you,
Okay.
from the captain, who's the commanding officer of the ship, to the junior most sailor, and you all function as one. We're all pulling together. Each department has its role to play, and it is in that there is a sense of security. The fact that we've got each other's back, everyone is pulling their weight, and that's what really keeps us going.
And is that the biggest difference between the Navy, Army, and Air Forces? That the unit size and the unit camaraderie is very different in the Navy?
I will not stick my head out that far, because honestly, I do not have that kind of experience with the Army or the Air Force. I do believe the camaraderie is similar, but probably has different principles to make it, different dynamics that make it work. I think from the perspective of the Navy, we are all on a platform together, 100 miles out to sea. Okay. Perhaps in the Air Force, okay, while your technical engineers may not be on the aircraft with you, but you are trusting them to ensure that your aircraft is in absolutely great condition, and that you will go and do your sortie and come back. Same way, in the Army, it's quite possible that as a troop, as a battalion, as a platoon, you know that even though you're marching, everyone's got each other's back. No one will be left behind. Okay, you will help each other. You will distribute loads, things like that. It's all, the dynamics are different, but the camaraderie is pretty much
The
the same.
people who fly a plane on a carrier, is that Navy or is that Air Force? and the
Navy.
So Navies are also fighter pilots.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So so
So-
if you get redeployed, you can actually get redeployed into the Air Force?
No, not generally. Some of our naval aviators, so the Navy pilots are called naval aviators. Some of them, especially the fixed wing who work with fixed wing jets, do some amount of training in the Air Force Academy. They learn to fly MiGs and stuff like that before they get deployed on board a carrier or things like that. So there's a lot of training that happens synergistically, but they are definitely naval personnel, and generally you wouldn't be cross deployed from one to the other. The requirements of a naval aviator are very, very different from that of an Air Force pilot.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think one of them is, I'm just postulating here, the distance the plane gets to land. Right? On a ship, there's a very narrow strait the plane has to land. Where if you're an Air Force in an airport, I mean, you've got the whole runway here to take off. Tell me if I'm wrong, because I've seen it so many times. You have this the Nimitz ship, US, right? It's like you can see where it ends, and the plane has to be airborne. Whereas in a normal, airport, military airport, I don't think there's such limitations.
So absolutely, landing is different. In fact, there is a club called the Martin Baker Club for aviators who have actually ditched underwater.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And it's an interesting thing. I won't hijack this podcast about Martin Baker Club, but
No,
yeah.
go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. So Martin Baker Club. So typically those aircraft that have ditched at sea, and the aviators have survived and come out of it, they are part of the Martin Baker Club.
Why Martin Baker?
Maybe
Was he the first?
I have no idea why that be so, but yeah. But interesting point, and I like to talk about this anecdote. So you mentioned there was actually this naval aviator who took off from erstwhile INS Vikrant and had to ditch his plane. The plane didn't take off. He went under. He could not eject because he would eject and hit Vikrant, which was still passing overhead. So he started counting down the amount of time it would take, and he ejected safely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, you've given me the segue. So you've been on INS Vikrant?
I have been on INS Vikrant, but I've never served on INS Vikrant.
Tell us about that ship. So we've only heard legends. What was it like? The first time you see INS Vikrant, how does it feel like? Or do you realize that, oh my God, that's INS Vikrant? Or it's a normal
like
thing?
a city.
It is?
So is it like the equivalent of the Nimitz? I keep mentioning the Nimitz, the US.
Nimitz is also a carrier.
Okay.
INS Vikrant was India's first carrier. In fact, it was the first aircraft carrier in the whole of Asia.
Oh.
Okay. We got it just.
Can I ask where you were when you saw the ship for the first time? Was that confidential?
No. That time it was based in Bombay. I went over.
So it was right here in Bombay.
Right here.
You saw the INS Vikrant. First time in Bombay.
First time in Bombay. I was already in the Navy. I was inside the dockyard. I was visiting one of my batchmates who was posted on board that ship. It's such a, I mean, just getting to his cabin, okay, from the top deck to his cabin, you have at least 20 points where you can get lost.
Wow. Wow.
So if you aren't going with an escort, you can be roaming around over there for the next month or so without coming out.
I've only heard legends about the INS Vikrant. Have you been on? Have you seen the new one? The new INS
The
Vikrant?
new INS Vikrant, no.
All right. I think we fast forwarded a little bit. So when is the first time you get posted on a ship?
The first time you get posted on a ship on staff is typically after 2 years of specialization.
What are the specializations available?
So electrical specialization. So everyone who first graduates as an engineer, I'm an electrical engineer by profession, and then you do a 2-year electrical specialization course that teaches you specifics about naval systems, from communication sets, radar systems, power generation distribution, weapons, sensors, radars, sonars, you name it. It's all done in that 2-year course. So once you're ready, and in between you also do some amount of time at sea where you have real on-job training.
Wow.
This is the real deal, right? I don't think people who do electrical engineering outside get this kind of exposure. They all quit and join IT in the end.
Well, IT it is being used even in the armed forces in a very big way.
So tell us about that day. The first day you get posted on a ship. How does that day start for you?
It feels good because that's also the first day that, as a young assistant electrical officer,
So you're 23, 24?
this is 1994, yeah, so 24. As a young 24-year-old, you are actually leading a department.
Oh, you straight away are okay. Wow.
You've got 2 gold stripes on your shoulder.
Because
and
you're a sub-lieutenant.
I'm a lieutenant by then.
Okay. So when is sub-lieutenant? When is lieutenant?
Sub-lieutenant is at the end of your 4th year, you
Okay.
become a sub-lieutenant, and then you are a sub-lieutenant for between 2 to 3 years, depending on how well you did in your basic courses.
Okay.
So by the time you're on ship, you're a lieutenant.
Okay. So 6 years lieutenant.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're there. First day, you're actually leading a team. You've got a whole department. Many of them are senior sailors who have already finished anything between 15 to 25 years in the Navy.
How is that happening? So these are not people who've gone through SSB. They've
No,
gone through
yeah,
another.
so there are other ranks. They come up from the ranks. So they join as sailors, and they form the backbone of the armed forces. Just like the army Jawans, you have the sailors and the airmen in the Navy, in the Air Force.
So that must have been a moment. You are a lieutenant, 24 years old, about to lead 15-year-old sailors with 15 years of experience.
So all of them weren't. Some of them are fresh, like me, 1-2 years of naval experience, first time on board for them. Some of them are slightly more senior, and the senior most would be something like a Master Chief Petty Officer, who could be anything from 25 to 30 years of experience.
How do you lead such people?
So to be honest, you have to rely on their experience, okay, and you have to respect. One thing you learn in the armed forces, in particular, okay, and I say this with great pride, irrespective of rank, okay, you respect the next person, especially if he has some knowledge that you can learn from. It doesn't make a difference whether he is a sailor, officer, senior, junior. If there is something that he is doing that you need to learn, you have to respect him. You respect him as a person who is going to teach you. You also respect each other for the experiences that they have. You also respect each other for being part of the team and being able to pull their own weight. Each one has their own role to play. Very often it does happen, as a youngster, and even I could be accused of that. You get a little like
Carried away.
Carried away with the weight on your shoulders, okay, and you try and act a bit bossy, and then you realize that's not how it works. It's where you learn how collaboration actually works, how it is so difficult to get people to do something. So you can never get someone to do something unless they really want to do it.
No, but so I'm going to interrupt here because the image of what we are shown on television is completely different, and this is where I'm coming. Whenever we see pictures about the army, an army, whether in India or the US, it's that command and control. Whatever the boss says, you suck it up and do it, whether I like it, because I've got the ranks, I'm wearing it on my sleeve. You have to do it. So, but what you're telling me here is slightly different, because you're talking about more of you convincing them or getting them to do something, and this is not how it's actually projected. And and that may be where you may argue Hollywood is making films just for entertainment. But when it comes to the real deal, does the command push always work? Or
of course, it helps that you have gold on your shoulder, Mario.
Okay.
But you will be foolhardy to misuse it.
Okay.
At the end of the day, especially in the armed forces, the people are going to follow you for your decision making, and you're probably building up some kind of bank balance of good decisions.
That's a good way of thinking about it.
Okay, and because at some point in time, these are going to be extremely perilous situations, and why would he take what you said for granted?
Yeah.
Okay,
Could you walk us through your first perilous situation without any confidential issues of any kind? But
If you're comfortable, wherever you are comfortable.
Yeah,
the
I'll
first
talk.
time you were really scared, that, oh my, okay, what's going to
First time
happen?
I was really scared. Okay, without taking dates or places, we do this thing called the boarding party.
Okay.
And a boarding party is a party that goes from the naval ship to the ship that needs to be boarded. Okay. So while I was on a particular ship, there was this one occasion where we got intelligence that there was this fishing trawler that was carrying some arms,
Wow.
smuggling
How
arms.
old are you at this?
I was about 25.
Just 1 year? Okay, it's only 1 year that you've been
Yeah.
on the ship. Wow, okay.
I was about 25, and we get this thing. So Nigel Heredia, young lieutenant, has been nominated as the officer of the boarding party.
You will lead the boarding
I
party.
will lead the
Oh,
boarding
wow,
party.
okay.
Who is the boarding party? Myself and 6 other sailors. All have been given arms and ammunition. We are lowered in one of those rubber dinghies,
Wow.
which we are going to go onto that ship which we have to board, which we have been told has arms. Now there's no gangway over there. You're in the middle of the ocean.
What
You
time of the day is this?
This was during the day.
Okay.
Okay.
Wasn't like so that it was a fishing trawler that stopped a little way away of us. So we've been lowered and we go there, and there is no gangway. You have to climb up something called a Jacob's ladder. Jacob's ladder is a rope ladder on the side of the ship. The ship itself is
Right.
Yeah,
shaking
rickety.
because okay, and you're climbing up. Your arms and ammunition have been
Right,
safely
yeah.
stored, and in your mind you're thinking, oh God, if these guys have arms and ammunition,
Yeah, what
they're gonna-
reception will I get? Yeah.
as soon as your head pops up, they're going to shoot one, shoot the next, shoot the third. Yeah.
So when
very,
you're
very-
leading it, you're the first person
I'm
on the
the
ship?
first guy on top of the ship.
Wow, okay.
Well, I boarded the ship.
He's still here, right?
We searched the ship, and if I'm here telling you this tale,
No, but think of your moment there. No? You must have been.
we didn't find anything. Whether they ditched it, whether it was a false alarm, I'm not aware. But yeah, scariest moment.
So, were the people in the ship more scared of you than you were of them? Because just think, you're thinking from your perspective, right? But this is a fishing trawler. They're looking at you. You're coming with the arms, right? So, and if they have arms hidden, they'll be shitting in their pants. What if we are found? These people are going to capture us, take us in. They probably may even, imprison us. So, this fear work both ways.
It would, but the fact is, if they're carrying arms, they're more likely to know how to use them.
Okay. So then they're okay.
And yeah.
So back online. So I asked you this question offline, and I really did want you to answer this again, because in my head, generals are supposed to lead their army, but you were at the head of this line entering. You were the first to go inside this boat. So what would have happened if they were armed and you were shot? Everyone next to you knows who's next in command, knows what to do next.
So typically we follow something called rules of engagement.
Okay.
As if it was an area that we decided was going to be belligerent or hostile, we would have taken certain actions.
Immediately. Everyone knew what to do.
Everyone, there's a proper way that we are taught.
That is why that one unit thing that you keep saying.
I keep talking about us having each other's back, thinking as one. There's a lot of discipline, there's a lot of thought that goes into it.
So just I'm going to take off from this. I see it a lot in how it's portrayed in the TV, this whole one unit thing. Let's say you're engaged in combat, right? And there's enemy fire you're taking, and one of your peers goes down, and an effort is made by the whole team to rescue that person, to go out of their way just to rescue him, even though he may be having and to pull him back. So is this all part of that? Because if you're taking heavy enemy fire, you could be losing many people. And so what's the whole line here? How do you decide where combat is better or saving your
So
own?
Mario, that's exactly where leadership comes.
Okay.
Okay, and there's a chapter in my book, and I've talked about something called the Josh Run, where we work as a unit. It's about a 12-kilometer run with your full FSMO, which is your field service marching order, full service marching orders. It weighs about 20 kilos, and you are a group of about 20, and to qualify, all 20 have to cross the line together. Okay, so it's all about helping each other, collaborating, distributing loads. When somebody falls, you will literally pick them up on your shoulders and carry them across the line. This is something that we are taught.
Okay.
It's part of our training. Over time, you will then ensure that hopefully no one is ever left behind.
You know, Nigel, it's very often that, and you know, since I know you so well, I keep addressing you as Nigel, but for everyone, he's Commander Heredia. But him and me actually know each other. That's why I'm calling him first name. We are always told that, you know, you can sleep safely because there is someone at the border guarding you. Hearing your story, you know, I'm understanding why we can sleep safely, because there are people like you out there on the street. So once again, thank you so much for your service.
Thank you so much.
One of the things that's happened recently is obviously the attack on us. We were almost at war, and we have hostile neighbors. There's no better way to phrase it. We have, and now the situation's gotten even worse. We have a massive coastline. So I'm guessing that the Navy has a massive battle plan for protection as well as for attack. What does preparation in the Navy look like, and how quickly can the Navy get prepared?
So I'll answer that in two parts, Krishna. I think the Navy has always been prepared. You know, we have something called force levels that are continuously maintained at all times, keeping in view the prevalent geopolitical situation. There will never be a time that any of the armed forces is ever caught napping, literally. We will always be ready for any eventuality. You got to understand, in today's day and age, as compared to, you know, historically where armies went into battle, okay, even then you got notice because you saw them coming.
Yeah.
There is going to be a gradual escalation in hostilities.
Oh, there is. Okay.
In general.
Okay.
In general, it's very unlikely that someone will just be trigger happy and shoot off interballistic cruise missile. It's going to be much more gradual. So there is a way that you prepare for these eventualities. Now, occasionally you will be called to action, and really quickly. Be rest assured that our policies and procedures ensure that we are ready to engage at short notice.
Without taking dates or names, was there ever a situation in your career where you were almost about to go to war and you felt like, okay, this looks really bad?
Well, Kargil happened when I was in the Navy.
So Kargil, was the Navy going to go Karachi way?
So to be fair, I don't think the Indian Navy has actually actively participated in a war since the 1971 war.
Right.
Okay. But the fact of the matter is, we have been deployed, you know, for any eventuality from time to time.
Does that weigh on you in any way, or on your? How does that affect you mentally, knowing that, okay, I'm here, there's no war, but any moment the bell can go off and I'm off?
I think that's what our training is for. So famously, somebody asked me, "Hey Nigel, knowing you and you know how easygoing you are, I don't think you'll ever be able to pull a trigger." I said, "Boss, that was one of the first things we were taught." So that emotion is just taken out of you.
Do you carry your service weapon with you?
Not in the Indian Navy.
It's only on the ship.
You don't require a service weapon while you're on ship, except if, like I said, I was in deployment as a boarding party. Then you are given a personal handgun and things like that.
Otherwise, nothing.
Otherwise, we don't require it. We are fighting as a unit.
So, you know, when people think about the Navy, they think about sailing and sailing the world. So there's this impression that one of the good things which comes out about being in the Navy is you get to see the world. So How many countries
People think about the Navy, they think about sailing. Huh?
sailing, seeing the world? So, how many ports did you get to disembark at? I heard you mention Seychelles. Have you been to any exotic places like, Mauritius, Chile, let's say, the Faroe Islands? The name
He
was all
answered.
these places. Yeah, yeah.
So interesting, Mario. One of the ads that kind of drew me into the Navy was join the Navy, see the world.
Yeah.
I am perhaps one of the very few people in the Navy who, other than their training cruise to Seychelles, has never sailed to any foreign port.
Not a single one.
Not a single one.
How many years in the Navy?
22 years.
22 years, not a single port
Other
outside
than Seychelles.
Wow.
It's a bit about time and space, and I was also at a time when the amount of sailing that we were doing to foreign countries was kind of restricted. That is, say, the 90s to the mid 2010-ish. So obviously those things were much less. On today's date, our ships are sailing a lot more and in a lot more places. So yeah.
So, when you sail to these places, what are some of the, okay, let me phrase it in a nice way, perks that you get apart from being on duty? Do you get to disembark? Do you get to go around?
Oh,
Do you
absolutely.
get to snorkel? Do you get to do diving? Do you get to do any stuff like that?
Oh yeah. So one of the high points, literally high points of my life was when I did paragliding in Seychelles.
Nice.
Okay, so you go to a foreign port. 1/3 of the ship's company stays on board at all time because it's called the ship's duty watch. And if you're in the other two watches, you're allowed to go out to shore. You have a fixed time to go out and a fixed time to come back. But during the time you're allowed to go out, it's called liberty. You can pretty much go and do whatever you want. I went and did paragliding.
Nice. Have you ever been on a submarine?
Oh yes. I
Oh.
thought this question was coming.
Because I would like to believe I was very lucky. Once I saw a submarine at the Gateway of India. And I did not know how gigantic the submarines are. That thing was insanely big.
Mm.
And then I realized, dude, obviously there must be 200 people inside the submarine, but it was a black color submarine, which is floating. And obviously, all of us out with our phones instantly taking photos. I was just looking, but I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm looking at a submarine. And then it didn't go below. It just cruised. I thought all submarines usually go down.
No. Okay, I'll answer that. So I was very fortunate, even though to sail on a submariner, to sail on a submarine, you have to be a submariner.
Okay.
Okay, which takes a further 1.5 years of training.
So there's
A separate submarine training school. Okay, because I was part of a very niche trial team, and we were testing some new equipment on board one of our submarines. I was allowed to participate in those trials and sail on that submarine. So I sailed on the submarine for 10 days.
Wow.
And it's an completely different, most amazing experience. To your point, the submarine that you would have seen would be on the surface. A submarine dived is considered an act of war.
Oh.
Oh.
Really?
In international waters.
Hold on. I'm going to bring up again
I didn't know
Hollywood. You know what we are shown on movies.
The submarines are usually inside.
I mean, if you look at movies like The Crimson Tide, they are
Yeah,
all over. When they patrol, they are literally submerged, right?
Yeah, those are movies.
Oh, okay.
So a submarine has to always be visible on international waters.
If they want to be seen.
Okay.
Or if they submerge, it's an act of war. They could be bombed out.
You could be, you could engage with them aggressively.
Oh, so if they are underwater, that means they're doing surveillance, some kind of surveillance. Okay, spies, I guess. So then it's.
Did not know that.
They don't want to be
I was
seen.
like saying, well, somebody's going to go under the water. And then like, "Arey, it's ऐसे ही जा रहा है." Like, ये तो cheating हुआ, but okay.
So typically patrols and all. Anyway, that's something that we leave at that.
So what's the difference between the Navy patrolling and the Coast Guard patrolling? So for example, when you boarded, I would have assumed that the Coast Guard is boarding the fishing trawler, but you as a naval officer are boarding.
So it all depends on which vessel is closest to
okay.
engage
So,
first.
okay.
The other thing that you got to understand is that the Coast Guard has a more coastal defense role. So they are in coastal waters.
Okay.
Whereas as the Navy, we engage even outside our coastal waters if we feel that there is something fishy going on.
Pun intended.
Pun intended.
I have to ask you this. So, your thoughts on 2611? Why do you think that happened? And what do you think we've done now to make sure it never happens again?
2611 was just unfortunate. It's sad that a group of people who are so passionate about what they believe in can be so indoctrinated to do something that is wrong at so many different levels. I'd say the plan took advantage of our large coastline, took advantage of many of our fishing boats not being properly registered.
Oh, okay.
And things like that. It's very difficult. Okay, it happened. We were wiser out of it, and it's certainly been strengthened. I think throughout history, whenever there has been a terrorist attack, a terrorist has kind of done whatever they did by breaking all the rules. When there are no rules in play, there are only so many number of scenarios you can pre-think of. Okay, and if that's one of the scenarios that is not thought of, then chances are somebody will get through.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought? Some people just sit on a ship and land, and that was.
Well,
but now that there is a patrol everywhere on our coastline.
There are sufficient patrols to ensure that there is a reasonably good level of safety. Infiltration is less likely to happen from areas that have been infiltrated before.
So I'm going to ask you something. What your inputs on this? War as we see it playing out today is taking a very different turn. If you look at Ukraine, people are not using soldiers; they're using drones. Mm-hmm. Drone warfare is coming into play. In fact, a lot of people say that, and China is building armies of, and this is what I hear, armies of robots who can go in. So this whole idea of using manpower, either in the Navy, military, is going to be, countries are already thinking about how much we can leverage humans and how much we can replace them with robots and drones. In your experiences as Navy, I mean, how feasible do you think this is, and how should we be preparing for it?
So, AI, drone technology, or any other new technology are all technologies that we really need to understand properly and adopt. Leverage to our own good use. If there is a way to leverage usage of drones and unmanned aerial vehicles, I think it's all par for the course. How it's going to replace the armed forces, I'm not sure it's going to happen so quickly and in such large numbers, at least not in the immediate time frame. I'd say, the use of UAVs or drones and things like that is going to kind of cause more civilian casualties as against traditional casualties. See, in a naval war, there'd be ships battling. In an army, you'd have, the army of the two countries fighting against each other. Over here, you are always going to hit a mix of both military as well as civilian personnel, which I feel is unfortunate.
In some countries like in the US now, you have private sector working with the government. In the US, you have Palantir working very closely, in fact. So do you think private companies should also start working with government? Because, all these capabilities at some point in time need to be augmented at least.
Oh, for sure. And there is always going to be public-private partnership, especially in the defense sector. We embrace people who are willing to do it. If there is an indigenous company that is going to build for us same things that would probably have to be bought from somewhere else, why not? If we are engineering a transfer of technology from a foreign country to try and bring it closer, we will kind of enter into a partnership with a third party probably, who will then transfer that technology onto. Now, whether it's a defense PSU, whether it is a private company, these are all just business dynamics. The fact is, you will have to engage with wherever the technology is available.
The reason I know Nigel is because we volunteer at a company together. But one thing I noticed about Nigel is very easy to talk to. You walk up to him, start talking. He'll happily talk to you. He'll actually mentor you, and that's kind of what you've started doing now. So 22 years of naval experience, all the leadership you've learned, you have joined, and you've joined an organization. I forget the name now.
Take charge.
Take Charge, and Take Charge is helping at-risk youth and trying to get them. So just tell me about this.
Okay,
What's
so
happening?
Take Charge essentially is a mentorship program under the Archdiocese of Mumbai. The age group of our mentees is from 18 to 24. They're not necessarily at risk, but we believe that everyone in that age group has a lot of questions. It works on a 4-point program. As a mentor, I will be a trusted friend and guide. We prepare them to pursue excellence as defined by them. We treat them as adults. We hold them responsible to the decisions they make. We don't tell them what is right or wrong. We tell them more the pros and cons of what they're thinking of. We have a bunch of different workshops teaching life skills, which you will not get in any formal course. Things
Could you
like
give us a trailer?
negotiation, communication, how to say no. I'm planning on introducing one on storytelling at some point in time, because, well, that's the best way to get your word across. Financial intelligence, networking essentials, a bunch of different stuff.
So what? How do you say no? As an example of a trailer for this course, how would you teach someone to say no?
So first and foremost, there's a level of discomfort. It's no is so digital. Okay, you have to find a graded response to saying. Very often it is about trying to negotiate a point in which both you as well as the person asking you to do something is comfortable with the end solution, and the negotiation is about trying to figure out what that point is. There are few things that cannot, some lines that will never be crossed. In those cases, you have to be strong enough to say no, and hope that the other person is wise enough to accept that no without taking it personally.
So at Khaki, where we volunteer, we find out very early that one of the secrets is actually inside a naval base. I'm not going to reveal too much. You have to come on a Khaki walk to find out.
Yeah, so please tell them what a khaki walk is,
Khaki
apart
is
from
an
you wearing khaki,
abbreviation.
which apparently you never do.
Stands for Keeping Heritage Alive and Kicking in India. It's a bunch of us Mumbaikars who absolutely love this city. And if you come on a walk where either Nigel or me are hosting, you'll find out why we love this city. But Nigel, how was your reaction when you learned that the place where you were working for a long time actually has so much heritage in it?
To be honest, I've lived in South Bombay for the longest time. I've even studied in a school right there in Fort. But the first day that I was taken around, it was like a complete eye-opener. I could have been touring a completely new city. Okay, it's all there hiding in plain sight. We've learned a lot of this in our own history classes, but in those days it was just a boring lecture, some dates that you mugged up and wrote down on a paper. Here it's just the stories coming to life.
But specifically, inside your naval base was where it all started.
Inside our naval base was where it all started. And yeah, I'm not going to say anything more.
You promised to take me inside, by the way.
Yeah, we will.
Now it's on camera that you promised to take us in. How did the book come about? So finally you joined a group, I'm told, who mentored you to write the book.
Yeah, so
by the way, guys, very easy to read book. It didn't take me more than an hour to read. Fairly simple, very, very real, no fluff. almost every chapter is about an event that happened in Nigel's life. So you've spoken about some of them today. My favorite chapter was actually the one about the ponytail, because I could, for obvious reasons, I cannot imagine Nigel in a ponytail. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go to hell for that one. But I love the painting. In fact, it actually looks like Nigel a little bit. Whoever has done the
Oh, and maybe Nigel in
artwork.
his younger, he's still young.
From an
but-
angle, it actually does look like him. So it's a very well done painting. So it's one of your batchmates has done this, right?
So no, not one of my batchmates. It's actually a friend of mine, my aunt's other nephew.
Right.
Without going into those
Not your
details,
cousin. Yes.
okay, another nephew, Nihal, who is
It's a very beautiful painting.
who
Very well
has
done.
done this really well. I just gave him a thought as to what I wanted, and he actually created this for me.
Like even the waves, look at the detail on the waves, right? It's very, very, very well done. And so the book came up. You
Okay.
always wanted to write the book?
So
or
I've had this idea of writing a book for the longest time. Only my wife and children actually knew about this seed of an idea, and they were the people who were pushing me to get on with it ever since 2025, when I kind of stopped working in a different company. So I had some time on my hands, and they started pushing me to do this. I was just scrolling on Instagram, and I came upon this group called the Indian Authors Academy, and they said, come join this webinar this evening. And I joined the webinar. Shweta Samota is this amazing coach who kind of has made writing a novel into a process. Okay, and as long as you stick to her missions and do things exactly the way she says, you will have a book at the end of it. I just stuck to the process. For me, it was a little more natural because I was writing things that have actually happened to me. I like writing to begin with, so putting it down was easy enough. My English is reasonable as well, so it came out all right.
so 22 years in the Navy. I'm just hearing that you're working somewhere else. So you quit the Navy and worked
Oh
somewhere
yes, I took premature retirement as far back as in 2012.
Why?
Uh, Short answer is the Navy transfers you quite often, okay, between every 3 to 5 years. And I had just been transferred from Mumbai to Jamnagar when my daughter was about a year old. And I got transferred back to Mumbai, and then it was time for me to get transferred out again. And by that time, my son was also born, and I just felt that this was not great. Most naval families travel along with the naval officer. My wife is also a professional. She works in a bank, and we just felt it was better to have stability in Mumbai. So she decided to hold fort in Mumbai, and I decided that at some point it was time to part with the Navy because I didn't want to leave my family.
Commander, right? You retired at commander.
I retired as a commander.
If you had continued, you would have been Commodore.
If I'd stayed long enough, perhaps, but I left before all those decisions really came
And
to the
straight away
fore.
you joined.
So I immediately joined the IT Naval Services.
Oh my goodness. If you had stayed on, you probably could have visited the Galapagos Islands and seen actual Commodores, right?
He didn't do it
Travel-
for 22 years. Why would he do it later? But the reason I asked him this question is because you will get excited. Because you know what Nigel did? He, as a warm up for our podcast, he watched the Meenakshi episode
Oh,
and he understood the first 30 minutes.
unlike you.
Exactly. So Nigel actually can talk to you about AI. Enjoy.
Let's make this AI episode. Yes, you are in the IT Naval Services.
I was in the IT Naval Services for a decade. I worked with a company called eClerk Services Limited.
Oh,
Yeah, and I had a great
they're in
tenure.
Airoli.
They're in Airoli.
Yeah.
I joined them when they were actually in Ghatkopar. I moved to Airoli with them. I was with them for 10 years. Had a great run, saw a great amount of growth both in my team as well as in the company. I learned a lot about corporate life. That was the time I realized.
That's missing from the book, by the way. You haven't
So
included-
it's so
Probably another book
obviously
coming.
Part two, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was
maybe
surprised
part
when you
3 or 4 or
mentioned-
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So yeah, lots. I had I had a really large team. I had some great people working with me in my team. Just a super experience.
So, this is something I wanted to ask you.
Mhm.
Let's assume you leave the army, right? Now you've got discipline, you've got so many other human traits which make you a good fit. But when you segue to the corporate world, they're looking indirectly for some of these, but a lot of them are actually looking for what you can bring to the table. So how does somebody from the military or the army with very little skills or just a smattering of what the corporate world would look like and no real contribution as to what you can give in terms of their subjects or how does one make the jump? How do you fit in?
Okay, so Mario, it helped that I have actually done an MTech in computer science from
Oh.
IIT Powai.
Oh,
Okay, it also helped that I'm an MBA in finance from Jamnalal Bajaj.
where did you get the time to do all this
Oh,
while
yeah.
you
While I was in the Indian Navy.
Oh.
So yeah, so it helped.
Anyone having an inferiority complex?
Yeah.
Please join us. So,
So-
while we just barely became engineers in MBA, you decided that while I'm in the Navy, I'm going to do an MTech and an MBA in finance, not marketing, finance.
Finance.
So,
All right.
when all this make your bed, get up at 6 a.m., do this, do that, you will come back and say, okay, now I need to look at MTech
When
subjects.
is
and
the
then-
MTech happening?
Okay, so the MTech, MTech comes about 3 years or 4 years after you finish your BTech. It comes as a consequence of you having done reasonably well academically during your BTech. So they
So
know
Navy's teaching you
the
MTech?
Navy's.
Okay.
I was sponsored. I was a sponsored candidate by the Indian Navy. So you've done reasonably well during your BTech, and you get an a chance to go to IIT. Of course, you've got to give a bunch of entrance tests and interviews and stuff like that, and it's super competitive. I'm just happy that I got in.
Rohan. Yeah.
Two 2 years. When I 2 years of MTech, I was fortunate to have an amazing class where I learnt a lot. My specialization, if you can call it that, was actually artificial intelligence.
Oh.
You thought I
In
was joking? Oh.
in 2000, I've
That-
actually
that
done
must be-
I've actually done game theory,
Oh,
and I enjoyed that.
well, game theory you probably use a lot in war, right? I mean,
So that was the reason I took up the subject,
Oh.
and so I've done AI way back in 2000.
You're
I
letting this
understand.
go? I thought you would jump on this.
I understand.
No, jump, go for it. It's okay.
Okay, and yeah. So to be fair, when I shifted to eClerks, I did have a fair amount of the skill sets. I had a fair amount of
Wait, so
understanding.
E-Class was before MBA?
No,
no,
after MBA.
after this.
So you MTech and then immediately you did an MBA?
Okay, fun fact. I must tell you why I did how I did the MBA.
Yeah.
I was actually posted in Naval Dockyard
Okay.
as a planning manager, and projects, as you know, go on across many different shifts. There was a hiatus between one shift and the next shift. And as a planning manager, it was my job to ensure that the next shift came and was handed over the task that they needed to do for the rest of the night shift. So I started by playing Minesweeper because I had nothing better to do. I started reading a few books, and then I said, listen, I got to do something better with my life. I had recently done a PGDBM through JBIMS in the Navy itself, which inspired me to think of doing the MBA as well. Jamnalal Bajaj was right across the road from Naval Dockyard, so time-wise it fit. I sat for the entrance exam and I got through, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Sat for the entrance exam, got through.
Yeah. So it's been like one success after the other. Have you encountered failure anywhere? I really want to ask now, because
Mario, I'd say that many times I have stumbled,
Okay.
and many times I have even questioned, okay, for a person who started off with biology and microbiology to end up doing engineering because I perhaps wouldn't have got married, to doing an engineering degree in electrical engineering and then doing computer science at IIT Bombay. Okay, and then doing a bunch of different tenures, going from training to testing to teaching to project planning to logistics management. people have asked me like, Nigel, are you okay up there? Like, what's and obviously the resilience that one learns in the Navy is that, anytime you're given something new to do or a new opportunity presents itself, take up the challenge. So I don't think there was success after success after success. I'm talking about all the successes, but I'm pretty sure there were a fair number of stumbles along the way.
So this is what I want to ask you. How did your experience in the Army, in the Navy, where you have a problem and here's the solution, act, right? Think, strategize, act. Now in the corporate world, it's a little different. The problems are different. There can be endless discussions, endless, decision making could be stalled. The discipline you have in the Army is not here. In corporate world, is driven by, to a large extent by shareholder returns, money. And so how did you marry these two worlds? Because coming from a world where, precision, decision, and coming to a corporate world where
it's not necessarily one unit anymore.
Right? I mean, how did you give and how did you ensure that your opinions were well taken? And how was this? Was this a whole cultural shift for you, or?
To be honest, I was very fortunate, and I'll say this because I've been asked this question a lot of times. I had a clean break, and what is really good is wherever you are, whether in the armed forces or out of it in corporate world, at the end of the day, you are dealing with people, and it is the human capital of that organization that's going to make or break it. And as a good leader, you leverage the capital, the human capital, to the best of your ability. Your ability to draw the best out of everyone, okay, rather than allow them to stew in their personal dramas, okay, is what brings you out as a leader.
So suggestions. How do you do that?
How do you do that? Okay, so there was this one project where it was going like all to pieces. Everyone, the first thing that somebody does is like start pointing fingers at each other. Hey, usne ye nahi kiya, isne ye nahi kiya. He should have done that. I should have, all that. The fact of the matter is, I actually told them the story about the Josh run. The Josh run, that run where we all run as a complete unit and we all have to cross.
Yeah.
And I gave them this analogy. Hey, listen, guys, we're on this ship, 100 miles out at sea. Now you can decide either we're going to sink the ship by pointing fingers at each other, or we are going to head safely back to shore. Now the choice is yours. Now you decide what you want to do. And then okay, now that you are willing to listen, I need you to rethink this part. I need you to rethink that part. I need you to rethink that part. Get people to work together. Our greatest skill in the armed forces is learning how to help people collaborate.
So that's a good story.
No, but this is sometimes this is the toughest part. The toughest part is getting people to collaborate, especially in a team. I'll tell you, where people feel that others get more preference than they do. This is a standard thing in a tech team. I slog my butt, that guy doesn't, she doesn't, he doesn't, and now you're telling me to collaborate. Why should I collaborate? I'm the one who is being penalized and you're telling me to. So how do you break these borders, right? In a world where people feel that they already have the deck stacked against them and other people are getting away.
So there's a lot of it is perception. Now think of it very objectively, and all of us are managers and dealt as managers, right? If I have to choose between two people to deliver to me something that is critical for my project, who am I going to go to? The person I like or the person who I think is going to deliver?
Obviously, the latter.
Now, will the other person feel that he was not chosen? Sure, he will. And that's food for thought. There are many people who come up to me, hey Nigel, this was my job, this is in my area, you should have given it to me. I said, sorry boss, I thought he will deliver better than you. And that's feedback. As managers, a lot of times, right, we kind of have kid gloves and giving,
tiptoe
tough,
around.
Yeah, tough messages. Okay, I think that's our biggest responsibility. You got to know how to give tough love.
Has anyone ever given you tough love? How did you react to it?
Well, not very well. I'm also human as the. Okay, so I stewed for a bit, but
What was the incident?
there was this incident when my manager gave
Corporate
up corporate life, gave a particular project to another team, even though my team was better situated to do it. And he and I actually go back, my manager and I go back a really long way. And, he just said, I thought that was a better fit. End of story. I stood for a bit. I said, listen, you were the guy, you set up this department, this was the responsibility. This falls straight in. Are you saying that we are useless? And no, I just felt that they will deliver better than you. So I felt bad. I learned from it. The next time something came, he didn't have to think twice. It was
What did you change about yourself? Why did it come to you next time?
I started understanding what was required in that situation to make it more efficient. So I was in a very transactional part, and I used to focus only on making things more and more efficient over time. So for example, if cycle times and AHTs of particular transactions were like X, I'd try and shave back at least 10% from the next year, because no client is going to pay you the same amount to do the same work that you did last year. So you're always trying to give back and stuff like that. Just help me focus on making it more and more efficient, so that my manager had more faith that I will deliver, knock the ball out of the court.
I'm loving this. Did I interrupt any question of yours?
No, you didn't.
Because otherwise, I'm just going to say that this should not be your last
Last
book. It's
book.
only the first book.
Thank you.
And it would mean a lot to me. I know you brought this specifically for Mario, made me order your book, but I would love for you to sign my book. If one of you can just give me my copy.
I will sign both, one for Mario.
No, Mario doesn't get a sign. Mario's only read 4 pages, by the way.
Thank you. I think I read a little more than 4 pages.
We'll find my book. So until then, if you can just sign this for us, if you can make it out to the Pineapple Podcast and not Mario. Do you have a pen? Or anyone have a pen?
No.
Yeah. All right. So question, if Pratik, if you want, do you want to make a zoom in as we're doing the signing, or we'll just do it like this? Lap on the lap, if it's possible.
Yeah.
So sorry, we're actually finding a good angle. Perfect. Perfect.
This is Mario's copy.
Yeah, my copy. Yeah, it's newer than yours.
Because I've read the book.
Now but I read 4 pages in your book, so I'm getting a new book to read again.
4 pages, huh?
Not 4 pages, little more than that.
I don't know where my book is. I kept it here. I think it's gone.
And I think I was sitting and reading it there. Just see on the sofa. Sofa pe ho na?
Or it's in my bag, Pratik, my brown bag.
Yeah, it's there.
Perfect. Thank you. This one you can add a nice, sweet message that Krishna, I admire you. You definitely would have gotten selected for the Navy. Something.
Yeah, you're one of the greatest khaki walkers, khaki night walkers.
Very sincerely, Nigel, jokes apart, I do admire all of you who have done so much for our country. So from the bottom of our heart and from everyone here on the Pineapple Podcast, thank you so much for your service.
My
We
pleasure.
sleep safely because we know
Thank
you're
you.
out there.
Thank you.
And just put up the book after you've signed it. We'll just get a close up. And with that, I think we're good. We'll just put up the book in a moment. Nigel's writing a very personal message to all of us.
To me, I think you have no part in that.
No, he actually has written Dear Mario. Damn.
You have no part in that.
Secrets of Indian Navy, book 2.
Secrets of Indian Navy. That's the request for book 2.
No.
There is no.
That's not happening.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
With that, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And stay tuned for another episode coming soon.